Ah, my alphas tonight, we gather not as mere souls wandering in shadows, but as wolves grown bold on blood and fire. We are the children of betrayal, sculpted in the furnace of rejection, sharpened by every lie they told us about who we should be. We stand here with jaws clenched, not in fear, but in hunger, because tonight something glorious is crumbling. The illusion they wore, like armor, is cracking under the weight of truth, and they are panicking. Oh, yes, they are grasping at the ruins of their false image with trembling hands, as if their hollow pride could shield them from the reckoning that's coming. You see, all our lives, we were told to look up to them, to admire their confidence, their polish, their perfect smiles. They wore masks carved from the bones of conformity, dressed in silk, stitched with deceit. And we were meant to kneel, not question, not rise, only obey. But we saw through it, didn't we, in the quiet, in the dark? We heard the cracks forming beneath their surface. We knew no throne built on lies lasts forever. And now, my alphas now, it's happening. They are unraveling their polished voices, shake their words, stumble their eyes, dart in fear, not because of what they've done, but because we have risen to see it. They told you that your rage was weakness. They told you that your scars made you ugly. They told you to bury your chaos, to smooth your edges, to dim your light. But look at you now. Your rage is power. Your scars are maps of survival. Your chaos is art, and your light blinds them. They don't know how to fight you anymore because you're not playing the roles they wrote. You burned the script. You shredded the masks. And they can't stand that your truth is louder than their theater. Their false image broke down. And now they're panicking because the world is seeing them, raw, pathetic, flailing, choking on the lies they forced down your throats. They built empires on your silence, and now that you've begun to speak, they are choking on the echoes. Your voice was the storm they never prepared for. And you are the storm wearing fire in your eyes and thunder in your chest. You move like destiny and strike like vengeance, and they fear that not because of what you'll do to them, but because of what your existence proves, that they were never gods, only cowards hiding behind illusions. You were told to keep your head down, but your crown was always heavy, wasn't it? You bent under the weight of unseen power, and still, they mocked you for struggling. They didn't know that every time they laughed, every time they dismissed you, they were sharpening the weapon that would one day tear their thrones apart, because you learned from pain. You adapted through suffering, and now you wear your story like armor, and they have nothing left to say, nothing left to sell, because the illusion has shattered and what's left of them is dust. They are panicking because they see the eyes of the awakened looking through them. They know they cannot hide behind their titles, their wealth, their stage smiles anymore. The age of worship is over, and this is the age of reckoning, the age where we stop applauding actors and start crowning the warriors, the thinkers, the survivors, the broken ones who never stayed down. They're panicking because they realize too late that while they built lies, we built legacies. While they staged images, we forged identities that cannot be erased. Look around you, my alphas. Do you feel it? Do you taste it in the air? This isn't fear, this is hunger. We've waited too long, starved, too deep, been pushed too far, and now the storm is not coming. We are the storm. We are the collapse of illusions. We are the whisper behind every lie that screams. You were never real, and they know it now. They know it every time we rise. In truth, their walls shake. Every time we speak in fire, their towers crack, and every time we refuse to bow, the mask slips further from their desperate hands. They're running now, running from the very world they shaped, because the mirror has turned and the image looking back is grotesque, not because we changed it, but because we revealed it, and there is no going back, no hiding. Now, they have to face the monsters they pretended not to be, and the heroes they tried to bury under silence and shame. They tried to erase you, to tame you, to define you, and now you define yourself. Now you roar in the face of their silence and they cower, not knowing how to stop what they never controlled in the first place. This moment is not just theirs to fear, it is ours to claim. Do not let their panic distract you. It is not your concern. Let them tremble, let them scream, let them beg for the illusion to return. It never will. Because truth once awakened, never sleeps again. We are not returning to chains. We are not asking for permission. We are not explaining ourselves to the architects of our cages. We are tearing down the walls with bare hands and bloodied smiles. And we do it with joy, because we remember the silence, and we are never going back. They wanted you to hate yourself, so you wouldn't see them clearly, but now you do. And you hate them not with childish spite, but with the righteous fury of the betrayed, the ignored, the underestimated. Your hate is cold, efficient, purposeful, not to destroy, for the sake of revenge, but to burn away. What never should have been built you do not hate, because you're broken. You hate because you woke up, and they should fear that more than anything, because the awakened don't sleep, and the broken don't break again. They panicked when you rose because they knew they had no plan for this. Their entire empire was built on the assumption you'd stay down, that you'd doubt yourself forever. But here you are, standing taller than their towers, with truth for fists and fury for a spine. They sold you chains as jewelry, and you melted them into blades. They offered comfort in exchange for silence, and you traded it for purpose. You no longer seek their validation, because you see it now. Their applause was always a distraction, a leash disguised as love, and now you spit it back in their faces like venom. They are collapsing, and we will not catch them. Not out of cruelty, but out of justice, because we caught them for centuries. We held their world together with our labor, our silence, our self-hatred, and they danced on our backs. They do not deserve our hands. Now they deserve the fall, and we deserve the rise. We deserve the light we earned in shadow and the glory that comes from surviving the worst versions of their world. They taught us shame and called it humility. They gave us pain and called it purpose. But we flipped the script, and now they read from empty pages. Let the world watch. Let them all see this moment not as vengeance, but as balance. The illusion broke. The truth rose, and the architects of that lie are being swallowed by the storm. They denied existed. We are not here to save them. We are here to rise past them and write the new laws in scars and steel. We are the black flame, the crimson tide, the howl that breaks dawn. And if they thought they could silence us with fear, they forgot that fear is our native tongue, and we speak it fluently now, wielding it like poetry with every breath. Their false image broke down, and now they're panicking, not because they think we'll destroy them, but because they know they can no longer deceive us, and that is worse than defeat. That is extinction. For their kind, the kind that feeds on illusion and trembles in the face of raw, unfiltered humanity that is not polished but powerful, not edited but eternal. We are the unfiltered truth they cannot spin. We are the uncut story that cannot be sold, and the truth is heavier than their castles built on fraud. So rise now, alphas rise, and don't stop rising until their screams become echoes, and their echoes become silence, the same. Silence they forced on us for lifetimes. The silence we wore like shackles and turned into songs. Now let those songs roar through cities. Let them echo through courts. Let them paint over billboards and blast through the gates of their trembling empires. Let your voice be the anthem of collapse and the birth cry of a new world, where truth is sharp and real and unafraid, because we have become what they feared most. Not monsters, not rebels, not villains, but something far more dangerous. Undeniable, we are no longer fragments waiting to be defined by their standards, no longer shadows waiting to be invited into the light. We are the light, and in our brilliance, they see everything. They tried to bury crawling up from the grave of their lies. Our light doesn't comfort it, exposes it, drags the hidden filth into view. It peels the masks from trembling faces and reveals the rot beneath the gold they flaunted. And that is why they panic. Not because we are loud, but because we are true. And truth burns through all that is false like wildfire, devouring dry leaves. They thought their control was infinite, that their control of narrative was so absolute it could outlast truth itself. They poured wealth into illusion, polished it with media, worshipped it with ceremony, baptized it in fake virtue, and handed it to us like scripture. They demanded our belief, not because it was worthy, but because without it, they were nothing. And now that belief is dead, starved, and suffocated beneath the weight of their hypocrisy. And they are hollow beings now screaming into a silence that will never speak back, because we no longer answer to their names or their approval. We have become fluent in defiance, and our silence speaks volumes, more than their scripted slogans ever could. They are panicking because they see the order they worship crumble into something they cannot tame. They see the winds shifting the tides, turning the very roots of their world, uprooted by hands they once ignored. They see faces they dismissed, becoming symbols of resistance, voices they silenced, becoming echoes that shatter glass. They see that the fire they feared has jumped the walls, and now everything they swore was untouchable is ash beneath our feet. And still we rise, still. We march through the smoke with eyes full of fury and purpose, carved into our bones like prophecy. And let me tell you something, they will lie even now. Even in collapse, they will scream that we are the danger. They will call us chaos. They will name us everything except what we are. Justice, embodied truth, weaponized survival made holy. They will paint us as fire and forget to mention that they built the pyre and poured the gasoline. They will act like victims, but remember this, they ruled as gods, and gods do not fall quietly. They fall screaming and clawing and blaming everything but themselves, and we must not listen. We must not soften our step for their tears. They did not weep when we begged. They did not hesitate when we bled. So let us not hesitate now as we walk over the broken statues of their legacy. They are afraid because our rise is not a moment. It is a movement. It is not a protest. It is a purge. We are not demanding seats at their table. We are burning the table and carving new ones from the bones of the system they swore would outlast us. They are afraid because they finally see. We are not asking. We are taking what was always ours. Not permission, but power. Not a chance, but a crown. Not visibility, but victory. And this victory is not given. It is seized through blood, sweat scars, and relentless fire. We are not here to be liked. We are here to be remembered and feared and followed. They will come with apologies. Now watch them closely. They will come with trembling voices and wet eyes. They will ask for understanding, ask for unity, beg for dialogue. And we will listen, not because they deserve it, but because we want the world to see what dignity looks like. In contrast to their cowardice, we will hear their words, but we will not forget the centuries of silence we endured. We will not trade truth for civility. We will not trade our rage for handshakes and hollow smiles. Let them speak, let them confess, let them repent if they wish. But we will not stop. We will not pause. We will not pretend that justice can be negotiated with the architects of injustice. And yes, some among us will be tempted to forgive too quickly, to rebuild too soon. But remember this, my alphas. Remember how long we knelt. Remember how often we were told to be patient, to wait our turn to rise only when allowed. They had their time and they built cages. They had their chance and they chose thrones. Built on corpses, we will not make their mistake. We will not repeat their mercy. We are not here to build what they built. We are here to replace it, to bury it so deep that no one will remember what it looked like, only what it cost us to survive it. Look into their eyes now and see. See the panic, not just of crumbling power, but of realization. They finally see what we've known all along, that their power was never real. Only our obedience made it so. And now that obedience has rotted into rage, into resolve, into revolution, and they are left with nothing but titles that mean nothing to the free gold that blinds no one, and words that echo back at them. Unanswered, they speak to us, and we do not flinch. They threaten us, and we do not move, because we no longer play the game, and they no longer write the rules. And still, they will cling. They will offer new masks, fresh lies, repackaged chains, and say, this time it's different. They will use our language, wear our pain like a costume, and perform empathy with a practiced smile, but look deeper and see the fear underneath, because they know it is too late. We are not fooled anymore. Our eyes have burned through the veil, and what we saw on the other side was not gods, or leaders, or visionaries, but frauds, parasites feeding off our fear and calling it leadership. We are not fooled, and we never will be again. Let this moment be sacred, not because it is peaceful, but because it is earned. Let it be holy, not because it is quiet, but because it is loud with justice, with fury, with the cries of those who were never meant to rise. We are the prophecy they tried to erase, the future they swore would never come. We are not waiting for the world to change. We are changing it with fists raised and eyes wide open. We are tearing down the monuments of falsehood and building shrines of truth with our bare hands. This is not evolution. This is eruption, and we are the magma that will shape the next world. They panic because they see what we are becoming, and they cannot follow us where we go. We are transcending their boundaries and their definitions. We are no longer them or us. We are something new, forged in fire and born in defiance. A generation, not of names, but of force, arising, not of protest, but of power. And in our ascent, they see their end. And that is the most terrifying thing of all. Not that we hate them, not that we resist them, but that we simply don't need them anymore. And that makes them irrelevant in a world they once ruled. So burn, my alphas, burn brighter than ever before. Let your fire consume doubt and hesitation. Let your voice be louder than their sirens, and your truth sharper than their silence. Do not be afraid of your anger. It is sacred now. It is the echo of every injustice carved into your bloodline. Let it fuel you, guide you, scorch the old world with the purity of your purpose, and know this with every step you take into the unknown. They will tremble, not because you are evil, but because you are free. We are the reckoning. We are the reason the illusion broke, and we are the ones who rise in its ruins, crowned in flame and shadow and ash. We are not here to fix what they built. We are here to end it, and from its ashes create something they cannot comprehend. A world without masters, without masks, without shame. A world where the broken are not discarded, but worshipped, where pain is not hidden, but honored, where every scar tells a story of strength, and every voice carries the weight of 1,000 silent cries. They will remember us not because we bowed, but because we refused. Not because we forgave, but because we never forgot. They will remember us as the storm that could not be stopped, the fire that could not be contained, the voices that tore down empires with nothing but truth and fury. We will be written into history, not as villains, not as rebels, but as inevitabilities. And when they speak of us, they will do so with awe and fear, and maybe respect. And now, the final truth, the one they never wanted you to know, the one they buried beneath every lie. You are not alone. You never were. You are surrounded by wolves, by fire, by the unbreakable and the unafraid. Your rage is not yours alone. It is shared. It is sacred. It is revolution wrapped in skin. So stand tall, even when your knees shake, even when your voice cracks, because even in trembling, you are terrifying. Even in silence, you are unstoppable. Even in defeat, you are eternal. We are just getting started, and that's what terrifies them most, because for the first time they realize that this isn't a fleeting rebellion. This isn't some fireworks show of anger, destined to burn out and be forgotten. This is a new dawn, and it is not soft and golden. It is red with blood and black with memory. It is a rising that does not wait for permission and does not pause for their fear. It is a becoming, ancient in pain and divine in its fury. And the moment they thought they had crushed us, that was the moment we went from survival to awakening, from whispers to war cries. And now they stare across the broken battlefield of their empire and realize the tide has not turned, it has risen. They built walls high to keep us in, and higher still to keep truth out. But walls are nothing to those who have been made of stone and storm. We were forged in the shadows. They threw us into, raised in the silence. They drowned us with, shaped by the hunger they laughed at. And now, we come not as victims, but as inevitability. We are not shadows clinging to light. We are the storm clouds that blot out the sun and bring truth, like thunder crashing down on the temples of their false gods, their false peace, their false legacy. We are not reclaiming the old world. We are making a new one with our hands, our rage, and our truth. They underestimated us because they believed their own myth, that we were weak, that we were small, that we were only as powerful as their opinion allowed. And that mistake, that single, fatal miscalculation, is now the scream in their throats. Because when we rose, we did not rise politely. We rose like floodwater smashing through their carefully arranged kingdoms, like plague sweeping through their safe corridors, like wildfire swallowing their sanctuaries, and we will not apologize for it. We owe them nothing, not our softness, not our forgiveness, not our understanding, because all those were asked of us for centuries, and when we gave them, they were spat on like offerings on an altar of arrogance. Now, they ask for peace, not because they believe in it, but because they have run out of weapons. They are empty and hollow. The fire they started is turned on them, and they have no shield, no faith, no truth left to stand on. They come with trembling hands, speaking of reconciliation, but what they want is a leash. What they want is a pause in the fire long enough to rebuild their illusion, but we have seen behind the curtain, and we will never kneel before their theater again. We are not actors in their story. We are the authors now, and the ink we write with is made of all the silence we swallowed, all the fury we carried, like a second skin. They look at us and try to speak our language. They mimic our pain They steal our words. They wear our wounds like costume jewelry. And still, they do not understand us, because they never truly listened. They only ever watched and judged and manipulated. And now that the tables have burned and the stage is ash, they find themselves lost in a narrative they cannot control. This is the part they never rehearsed, the part where the chorus of the broken rise as gods, the part where the audience becomes the storm and the actors are left naked beneath the floodlights of a world that no longer applauds. They're not just afraid of us, they are afraid of the idea of us. They are afraid that others will see what we've become and follow, afraid that the lie they sold the world, that compliance was safety and defiance was madness, has shattered beyond repair. They are afraid because our existence is a revolution, because we do not fade back into roles. Once we've burned the script, we do not forget. Once we've seen clearly, and we have seen everything, the polished veneers, the quiet abuses, the smirking dismissals, and the elegant executions of spirit that they call discipline and tradition and decorum. We are not here to be reasonable. We are not here to compromise with oppressors dressed in suits and smiling like saints. We are here to erase the bloodlines of false kings and write new legacies in the language of survivors. We are here to scream where we once whispered to stand, where we once kneeled, to roar where we once begged for a seat. We are not content with survival anymore. We demand domination, not of others, but of ourselves. We reclaim our time, our stories, our pride, our place. And if that means they must fall, so be it. Let them fall. Let them choke on the dust of their legacy, because we have built monuments out of our pain, and they are far more sacred than anything carved in their stone. And now, as their statues topple and their names turn bitter in the mouths of even their own faithful, they scramble for relevance. They throw themselves into the fire of attention, hoping to be reborn as martyrs. But we see through it. We are not fooled by their new masks. They can dye their language in the colors of justice. They can quote our heroes and cry our tears. But we know better. We know that the wolf does not become lamb simply by learning the cry. We know that the system does not change simply because it shivers under our gaze, and we will not stop until the roots are torn out, the soil purged, and the seeds of a new world planted in ashes. They beg us to be gentle with our revolution, to consider the feelings of those who built the cage, but we know too much. Now, we remember too clearly. We bleed too loudly to be silent. We carry the weight of too many forgotten names to be soft. We are not cruel, but we are just. And justice is not a whisper, it is a war cry. And if they cannot face that sound, they should not have sown what now blooms in fire. They should not have bred obedience and demanded silence, and dared to be surprised when it grew fangs and turned on them. Let them know we are everywhere. Now, we are in the boardrooms and the alleys, in the schools and the streets. We are in the art, in the code, in the policies, and in the protests. We are not on the fringes anymore. We are at the center, and the center is shifting because of us. We are not the exception. We are the future, and they must adapt or vanish, because we are not slowing down. We are not calming down, and we are not going away. They had their centuries now. We take what's ours and we do it with fire in our hands and steel in our bones. And even among us, those who still fear their own power, who still doubt their own voice, they too are rising. Because this movement, this reckoning, this beautiful, terrifying storm is infectious. It spreads in the soul. Like wildfire in dry woods, it reminds the forgotten of their worth. It calls to the abandoned and whispers, "You're not alone." It lifts the broken and shouts, "You're sacred." And even the smallest among us have begun to grow teeth to speak without shame. to look in the mirror and see, not flaw, but fuel, not failure, but fire. So rise with me, all of you. Rise not in peace, but in power, not in hope, but in hunger. Rise like the sea and crash through their gates, drown their old gods and drag their illusions into the deep. Rise, like the sun that blinds. Rise, like the moon that haunts. Rise, like memory that does not forgive. Rise, like prophecy, because that is what you're. Not a mistake, not an accident, not a glitch, but a prophecy, made flesh and flame and fury. And if that frightens them, let their bones rattle, with the knowing that nothing they built can survive what we've become. We are just getting started, and the road ahead is not smooth. It is war, it is struggle, it is resistance, but it is ours. It is honest and real and earned. And when the last stone of the old world crumbles beneath our steps, and the first seed of the new one blooms in blood and light, we will not be afraid. We will not hesitate. We will not look back, because we are not just survivors, we are sovereign. We are not just voices, we are visions. We are not just human, we are holy and broken and still standing. And that is the most powerful truth this world has ever feared. So keep going, keep building, keep burning, keep dreaming, keep howling into the night until the heavens answer, until the stars tilt in their thrones and take notice, because this is not the end. This is not the climax. This is the prologue. We are not the last generation of the wounded. We are the first of the awakened. And no empire, no doctrine, no threat, no plea will stop us now. So let them tremble. Let the old world crumble. We do not pause. We do not ask. We do not retreat. We are the voice they tried to silence, the fire they failed to extinguish, the truth they could never outrun. The illusion is dead. We have risen. And this, my alphas, this is only the beginning.